Okay, so first, I want to thank you for taking your time to participate in our career fair. But how are you today?
Time out. Colin, go ahead and take that mask off. We're
Okay.
6 feet away.
Okay, I didn't know if I could take it off or not. Okay. So how are you today?
Doing good, doing good.
That's good. So I know a lot of students work at Harps and are interested in it. Would you like to go into detail about like a specific job description that they would like look forward to?
Okay, yeah. So when looking for a job at Harps, your age kind of matters
Mhm.
because if you're under the age of 18, you can only work in probably two of our departments. Um, if you're 18 and under, you would basically be customer service, working the front end, just helping out customers basically the whole time you're at work. If you're 18 or older and you're still in high school, you could work in one of our perishable departments, and that would be a little bit more hands-on, prepping food, whether it be produce in the meat market or the bakery deli. They're a little bit more hands-on. They have to focus more on um, food safety rules, cleanliness, along with helping out the customers. So, I mean, every job description at Harps boils down to customer service. If there's one in particular you'd like me to kind of dive into,
I mean any of
cashier.
them.
Okay, so like a cashier, so their main focus is helping to run the front end, and that includes getting customers through the door as quickly as possible. We don't want people having to wait in line, so it takes a lot of communication on their part. It's not just basically you show up and you stand at a register. We have them go work out on the floor and help out with other departments, but their main focus is to watch that front end, cover breaks, retrieve carts from outside, help us stock trucks when we get loads in from our warehouse. But at the end of the day, it's all about helping take care of our customers. So
Okay.
hope that answered.
Um, so the next question I have is what are specific skills and experiences you're looking for in an employee?
So what I look for more in an interview is the skills I'm picking up on, maybe in their personality and how they talk, because the experience may not be there. And to be honest, when you're working in retail, even if it's clothes or food or electronics, it's all kind of the same at the end of the day. So I'm
Mhm.
looking for those skills. I'm looking for communication skills. Are they able to speak clearly? Do they give me visual cues that they're or with their body language that they're listening? Are they nodding? Are they asking questions, or are they wanting me to? Sometimes people want you to answer their questions for them. They're
Yeah.
too nervous, and I understand people get nervous, but that's one thing that people kind of have to remove when they're in an interview. But I'm looking for people that can communicate. I don't care what you look like, or anything like that. If you can communicate and you're kind of quick on your feet, you're quick with an answer. That's the type of skill I'm looking for in a person, because that's the type of person that's going to be aware of what's going on, and they're going to be able to help us um, maintain a good store.
Okay, okay. And how would someone be like trained for job at Harps?
So how we train at Harps, first you have we've just started doing 3 interviews. So we do that. Once you're hired on, we do an orientation, which takes 3 hours of one-on-one, um, just kind of going over policies and things like that. And then we do some learning. We have a learning management system. It's online learning. We have people go through that. Then they're partnered with 1 to 2 longtime associates or just exceptional associates. They might not have been with the company that long, but they're
Mhm.
partnered with someone for at least a week, but typically 2 weeks, just side by side. And it's not just one thing they work on. They work, so like, say if it's with a cashier, they train um, on the front end. They greet customers for their first 2 hours, and then they'll help go work out on the floor, and they'll just watch what their trainer does, and the trainer will just basically impart their wisdom per se on them. Kind of, this is what I do. These are our policies. this is how I work within those policies, stuff like that. Just kind of giving their, um, their way of doing things, but also showing them you can do it this way, and kind of allowing that new associate to create their own way of accomplishing their task.
Okay. Well, that kind of goes hand in hand with the next question I was going to ask. In the work environment there, is it typically a more team effort or is it more independently? Or like, how would you describe that aspect?
It's definitely team oriented. Everything's a collaboration in every department. Myself as the store manager, my job is to collaborate with my department managers. I have 5 of them. I meet with them every week, at least once as a group. Then every day, it's my job to go around, talk to them, see what they have going on, see what they're having their team work on. I mean, things are a team effort, from planning displays for sales that we're having to going to grab carts outside. We don't just send one person outside. It's all teamwork. There are times where people have to work solo, but those are far and few between. With COVID, they're a little bit more spaced out than normal, but they're still working together.
Okay. What kind of growth opportunities are available at Harps?
There are a ton of growth opportunities with Harps. Uh, it's not, I think it froze. Do you still have me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
It froze there on my so it's not, just being honest, unless you're just wanting like a summer job, it's not in someone's best interest to work a minimum wage job all the time. If you work 28 hours a week at minimum wage, when it goes up to 11, I think you'd end up making $16,000 a year before taxes. So it's not much of an incentive to stay at the bottom. But the good thing with Harps is they don't hold anyone back. I've worked for the company for 6 years. I've been a store manager for 3 years. The growth opportunities come in the form of college internships. Though they have through our home office in Springdale. Of course, we always have positions at the store level, and then promotions from within the store. We have customer service managers, closing managers, department managers, and then we have a department manager trainee program that we have for all of our perishable departments. So market, bakery, deli, produce. And then the grocery department has a store manager training program. And they pay well to go into the trainee program. They send you all across the state to work in different stores. They train you in every facet, big or small, of the business.
He froze.
Okay, just wait just a second.
And then,
Sorry to interrupt. You froze for a second, so I could not hear what you said like the last 10, 15 seconds.
Okay, that's fine. So the store manager, grocery manager training program, that is what most people go through. That's what I went through. I went to probably 15 different stores, and I trained in every part of the business by people that knew that part really well. Some of the stuff I've used that I learned in it, some of it I haven't at all. Uh, Typically, someone's in that program for about 6 months to a year before they find placement in either an assistant manager job or a store manager position. So there's a lot of growth opportunity within Harps. We just purchased 20 stores last year, and now our store count's up to 114 stores. We have a distribution center in Springdale that a lot of people work at. We have a home office, and all told, I think we have about 5,400 associates. So we're a growing company, and there's a lot of opportunity, and they're not known for holding people back.
Okay. Okay. Where can you find an application at?
So applications are all online now, for better or worse. They're at harpscareers.com. And if you fill out an application, it'll show you all the stores within the radius that you said you would be able to drive. So if you say 30 miles and you live in Greenbrier, it's going to pull up positions that are available at Greenbrier, Conway, Valonia, the Tin Box in Conway. Sorry, my daughter's making noise in the background.
Okay. Typically, how long is the turnaround for like getting a call back or more of a decision from an application being submitted?
So it varies. If I'm in kind of if I'm hunting for new talent at the store, I'll go on our talent reef. That's the third party company that handles our applications. I'll go on that website and actively read through every application, and I try to do that at least. I try to do that at least once a month, just to kind of weed out the good ones. But typically, people come to me and through either the form of a phone call or a face-to-face meeting in the store, and they'll just let me know what their name is, that they're interested in a position. And with retail, just starting out, that's typically how it works. Someone comes up to the store to meet me, and that's where it goes from. But to answer your question, the turnaround, if I'm interested after talking with someone, it'll be within a week before we've got them interviewed and we make a decision and an orientation is scheduled, or we will let them know that we're not going to move forward with hiring them.
Okay. Do you call back? Do you email? How do you reach out after you have found someone that you're interested in?
I always call.
Okay.
I don't do any email. I'm totally for technology, but when I'm trying to make a decision on hiring someone, I want as much personal contact as possible, because it's hard to, you don't know what the personality is until you see
Yeah.
it face to face and you talk. Some people come across terrible on the phone and they're terrific workers. So it's, I might not have answered your question there, but
No, you did. But okay, so what is the typical attire that y'all think should be worn at an interview?
so typical attire, nothing too serious. I would say don't be slouchy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to be business attire. It doesn't have to be business casual or anything. I would say do not be slouchy. Wear a shirt or a blouse that is not wrinkled.
Mm-hmm.
Have clean pants on. Don't wear beat up shoes. Comb your hair. That's a big one. Just look fresh, um, because some people don't have the money to go buy a nice button down shirt or a nice,
Yeah.
and I understand that's why they're looking for a job. So just look as fresh as you can, and that's all I'll care about. That is something that goes into the interview process. If you show up and you look like you just picked a shirt out of a pile that was wadded up, I'm already not interested because you haven't
Yeah.
taken time to show that you care enough for my time. So
Yeah. Okay. Um, when starting a job, at Harps, does it start out as minimum wage?
typically, yes, it does. Unless you
Okay.
have prior experience, or some college behind you,
Mm-hmm.
it typically starts out at minimum wage. We
Okay.
don't. I'm very upfront with people that if they do a good job and they want more money, uh, and they don't call in and stuff like that, that we'll get them more money. But I typically don't. I don't give more than minimum wage unless there's, like I said, the experience or the college. Okay.
Okay. So like you said, it does increase if you have experience and stuff like that. Does even if you have experience, does it take a certain time period from like when you first get the job to have a wage increase?
No, no, I would just start that associate out at a higher rate, and it
Okay.
varies. And when I look at my payroll, I've got people all over the place just based on experience.
Okay. And so for when y'all do have students apply and get the job there, what is like the typical hours that they work?
So they typically work if it's during the school year, which this year's been a little different with COVID. But typically they come in around 4 o'clock and they work till about 9 or 10 o'clock at night. That's on weekdays. When they work on weekends, they may open. That's where they get most of their hours.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to work probably 8 hour shifts, 7 to 8 hours. They could open and work like 6 to 2, or they might close for us and work 3 to 10. Uh, but they typically get around 20 to 28 hours a week.
Okay. Um, and okay, yeah, this is a good one. So, what kind of mistakes do students make when being interviewed? Like, what are some red flags that you see and you're like, no, I'm not interested in them?
So of course we've already discussed how they're dressed.
Mm-hmm.
If they're too nervous and they can't overcome the nervousness in the interview, even if they're a good person, that's going to be a red flag for me. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to say if they can't talk to me, who's pretty easy to talk to, are they going to be able to help customers that they don't know at all? So
Yeah.
that's a red flag. If they're interrupting me when I'm just trying to ask them a question, uh, that's a red flag. Uh, if they start talking about if they've worked at another place and they start saying, "Well, at this place, this is how we did it," and they don't even
Mm.
have a job here yet,
Yeah.
so those are red flags. I'm trying to think if there are any others. I ask a lot of situational questions when I'm interviewing people, and if I get a lot of excuse type answers and a lack of kind of ownership,
Mm-hmm.
then I'll kind of disregard the interview.
What kind of situations would you ask in that interview?
So with a student, if they lack work experience, I would say, take an athlete for an example, someone
Mm-hmm.
that in sports. I would say, what is the time, or when is the time that you've failed in your sport, and it was your fault, and how did you respond, and how did you own up to it, and how did you overcome it? So something like that. Or if it's someone that doesn't play a sport or something like that, it would just be like, you have an altercation with a friend, how do you go about reconciling that relationship? Just trying to see how they deal with people on their own. At work, we're going to kind of try and make people work things out.
Yeah.
People avoid that in their personal life, and if they're doing that, they're probably not well suited for a job in customer service.
Yeah. So when a person does work in customer service, are there specific guidelines that they do have to follow in order to meet maybe y'all's regulations of like confrontation towards customers, no matter the customer's attitudes or anything like that?
It's a good question. And it's kind of situation to situation, depending on how we handle things. First
Mhm.
off, we're never going to try and escalate a situation with a customer. If a customer's,
Mhm.
we're always going to try to, what I tell them is, if a customer comes in upset and you know how to fix it immediately. Don't let
Mhm.
their aggressive attitude put you on your heels to where you kind of him haul around and drag your feet in making the decision because they're scaring you. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, but if they're wrong, so if the customer's confrontational and they're just wrong, that's
Mhm.
when I or my assistant will step in and we'll explain to them, you know, in a very polite way that they're mistaken, and we would love to work with them. And typically, if someone's kind of contrite after being addressed that way, we'll go ahead and do what they want. So say they want a refund for something they shouldn't really get a refund for, we'll go ahead and
Yeah.
do it, and we'll say, next time we won't do this. So we're not a customer's always right type of place. That's not
Mhm.
how I manage my store. We lean that way for sure. We're not just walking around looking to pick fights.
Mhm.
But as far as our guidelines, it's just don't escalate anything with a customer, even when they're wrong. Be don't throw gas on the fire. So
Okay. Okay. Well, that's about all I have to ask for you today. Um, do you have anything else that you'd like to add or talk about?
not really. Something I forgot to mention when you were talking about career opportunities
Mhm.
with pay and how that works. So a lot of people think, or probably don't think at all, but if they gave it any thought to work at a grocery store, they'd probably think you can't make much money there.
Yeah.
There are a lot of well-paying positions just at the store level that pay around between $50,000 and $75,000 a year. That may be less than what some people are looking for, but
Mhm.
for a lot of people, that's a very good living. We have a bonus pool every year that typically pays out very well. We're employee owned, and we have a stock price. And I think daughter's yelling. Uh, we have a stock price, and it has increased for 15 years in a row. So like I said, there's a lot of growth, and there's a lot of opportunity within the grocery industry. But I don't really have anything to add. I wish I did. But you covered quite a bit. Yes, some really good questions.
Thank you. Well, thank you for your time once again, and just thank you for being here and wanting to participate in this career fair.
Anytime.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Van Winkle. We really appreciate it. Thanks so much. That was perfect. Thank you. And hey, we'll send you a copy of our edited version just in case you ever want to use it. Okay.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much. Bye-bye.